Doctors say babies move inside the womb. But what happened during Ngozi's pregnancy terrified everyone. You see, from the 5th month, Ngozi's stomach never rested. Never. The babies inside her womb were constantly fighting. Not ordinary kicking, no. I mean pushing, twisting, struggling for space, like two enemies trapped inside the same room. Sometimes, her stomach would suddenly jerk to one side, like one baby had just pushed the other away. At first, the midwife just laughed. She said, these children already get strong spirit. But the day Ngozi went into labor, something happened that nobody could explain. Her labor lasted almost 20 hours. Not because the babies could not come out, no, but because none of them wanted the other one to come out first. Every time one twin tried to enter the world, the other one would push him back from inside. The doctor looked, the nurses looked. Nobody had ever seen anything like it before. And when the twins were finally born, what they did next shocked the entire hospital.
If you have watched this to this point, type warriors in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more amazing African stories.
In a quiet village called Umudara, there lived a woman named Ngozi. Ngozi was a beautiful woman, kind, hardworking. But she carried a heavy sadness in her heart. You see, Ngozi had been married for 7 long years, but she had no child. In the village, that kind of thing is not easy. Every market day, women carried babies on their backs, but Ngozi always walked alone. Some people pitied her. Others whispered when she passed, maybe her womb is closed. Maybe the ancestors are angry. Each word pierced her heart, but her husband Okoro always tried to comfort her. He would say, Ngozi, ignore them. Our time will come. But many nights, Ngozi still cried quietly. She prayed in churches. She visited hospitals. She drank different herbal medicines. Still, no child came. Until one strange evening, an old woman arrived in the village, a priestess from a distant shrine. People said she could see things others could not see. Some said the spirit listened when she spoke. When Ngozi heard about her, hope woke up inside her heart again. The next morning, Ngozi went to see the priestess. The old woman looked at her for a long time, very long time. Then she said something strange. Your womb is not empty because it is weak. It is waiting. Ngozi was confused. Waiting for what? The priestess reached into a small calabash and brought out a dark, bitter liquid. Drink this, she said, but listen carefully. When the children come, they will not be ordinary. Ngozi did not ask questions. She was too desperate for a child. She drank the liquid. It was bitter, very bitter. But the priestess only nodded and said, go home. Your prayer has been answered. 3 months later, Ngozi missed her monthly cycle. Then another month passed. Soon the midwife confirmed the news. Ngozi was pregnant. The whole house rejoiced. Her husband Okoro slaughtered a goat. After 7 years, their miracle had finally come. But as the months passed, something strange began to happen. From the 5th month, Ngozi's stomach never rested. Never. Sometimes it moved to the left. Then suddenly, it jumped to the right. At night, Ngozi would shout, Okoro, come and see what these children are doing. Okoro would place his hand on her belly. Immediately, thump, something kicked hard from inside. Okoro would jump back. Are you carrying babies or wrestlers? Even the midwife was surprised. Soon she discovered the truth. Ngozi was carrying twins. Everyone said it was a blessing, But inside Ngozi's womb, the twins were already fighting. When Ngozi ate food, one twin rushed forward to grab everything. The other one struggled behind. "Leave some for me." But the first twin misused. So the second twin became angry. He pushed back hard. That was when Ngozi's stomach would suddenly jump like football. Even when one twin wanted to sleep, the other one would stretch his legs and push him away. Kick, push, twist. They fought over everything. Food, space, sleeping position, even the place closest to their mother's heartbeat. There was never peace. One night, Ngozi held her stomach and groaned, "These children are playing football inside me." But the truth was even stranger. Inside the womb, the twins were not playing. They were competing. Each one wanted to be stronger. Each one wanted to win. And very soon, they would face the biggest argument of all. Because when the time came to enter the world, both twins would want the same thing.
By the 9th month, everyone in Umudara village was waiting. Ngozi's stomach had grown big and round, and the strange movement inside had only become stronger. Sometimes, when she sat quietly, her belly would suddenly jump up like something had exploded inside it. Other times, it would move from one side to the other, like two people struggling under a blanket. The village women often laughed. "Ngozi," one of them said one afternoon, "are you sure you're carrying babies and not a whole football team?" Ngozi tried to laugh too, but deep inside she was tired. The twins never rested. When one kicked, the other kicked harder. When one stretched, the other pushed him away. Even at night, they refused to be still. It felt like two stubborn warriors were living inside her stomach. Then one early morning, before the sun had fully risen, Ngozi felt a sharp pain in her lower back. She gasped. "Okoro!" Her voice was weak. Okoro woke up immediately. "What is it?" Ngozi held her stomach tightly. "I think the babies are coming." Panic and excitement filled the house. Okoro quickly called the midwife, and soon Ngozi was taken to the small clinic in the village. At first, everything seemed normal. The midwife smiled. "These babies will soon meet the world," she said. But hours began to pass. Morning turned into afternoon, and something strange started happening. The midwife frowned as she checked Ngozi again. She said, "The first baby is ready to come out." Everyone prepared. But suddenly, the baby moved back. The midwife blinked in confusion. "That is strange." A few minutes later, the second twin pushed forward. Now this one wants to come first," the midwife said. But just as that baby reached the birth canal, he also stopped. Then he moved back again. The nurses stared at each other. The twins kept switching places. One pushed forward, the other pushed him back. Then that one moved aside, then the first one returned. It was like they were arguing inside the womb. Ngozi screamed in pain as the labor continued. Hours passed. The doctor was finally called. Even he looked confused. He said, "I have delivered twins before, but I have never seen anything like this." Inside the womb, the twins were still fighting. "I will come out first," the first twin seemed to say. "No, I will," the second twin pushed back. They shoved each other again and again. Neither one wanted to lose. Even as the contractions grew stronger, the twins refused to agree. The labor lasted nearly 20 hours. By nightfall, everyone in the clinic was exhausted. Then suddenly, the doctor shouted, "I see the head." Finally, the first twin began to come out. But just as he appeared, the second twin pushed hard from behind. Both babies nearly came out at the same time. With one final push from Ngozi, the first twin was born. His cry filled the room. But before the nurses could even wrap him in cloth, something unbelievable happened. The second twin followed immediately. The moment he came out, his tiny hand moved quickly. Pah! He slapped the first twin. The nurses froze. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then both babies began to cry loudly. But the sound did not feel like ordinary crying. It sounded like two angry voices arguing. Ah! Eh! Ah! Eh! Their tiny arms kept moving. The first twin pushed the other one. The second twin kicked back. The nurses quickly separated them. Eh! 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 One nurse shouted in shock. These babies are fighting. The doctor removed his glasses slowly. In all his years of delivering children, he had never seen anything like this. The babies continued crying loudly, almost like they were still arguing about something. The midwife shook her head in disbelief. These two, she whispered. They started fighting inside the womb and they are still fighting outside. Outside the clinic, Okoro was waiting nervously. When he finally heard the cries of the babies, joy filled his heart. Are they safe? He asked quickly. The nurse nodded. Yes, both twins are healthy. Then she added quietly, but your children are not ordinary. Okoro laughed. All children are special. But inside the delivery room, the doctor was still staring at the twins. Because even as newborns, even before opening their eyes fully, the twins were still trying to push each other away. And deep inside his heart, the doctor felt something strange. A feeling that these two brothers had brought their rivalry from another place. And that this strange battle between them was only just beginning. From the day those twins were born, the whole village could not stop talking about them. People still remembered what happened in the clinic. How one twin slapped the other the moment he came out. How the babies cried like two angry men arguing. The story spread from house to house. Some people laughed, others shook their heads and said quietly, those children are not ordinary. Ngozi and Okoro named the twins Obina and Somto. At first, the parents hoped the strange fighting would stop as they grew, but it only became worse. When they were babies, they fought over milk. If Ngozi carried one, the other would start screaming until she picked him up too. If one grabbed a toy, the other would snatch it immediately. Sometimes the boys would stare at each other with small angry faces like two old rivals who had known each other for years. Even the villagers noticed. One afternoon, an old man watching them play laughed and said, these boys behave like two men who are settling an old score. As they grew older, their rivalry became famous in the whole village. If Obina climbed a tree, Somto climbed in higher one. If Somto ran fast, Obina ran faster. In school, they competed for everything. First position, football, running races. Even the teachers became tired. One teacher once said, if these two boys used their energy together, they could move a mountain. But the twins never wanted to work together. Each one wanted to prove he was better. Years passed. Then one evening, something happened that nobody expected. An old woman arrived in the village. Her back was bent with age and she walked slowly with a long staff. When she saw the twins playing outside their house, she suddenly stopped. Her eyes widened. She stared at them for a long time. Then she whispered something strange. So, you too have returned. The twins looked at her, confused. What do you mean? Somto asked. The old woman walked closer. Okoro came outside and greeted her politely, but the woman kept staring at the twins. Then she said something that made everyone freeze. Many years ago, she began slowly. Two powerful warriors lived in this land. The twins looked at each other. They had the same names. The old woman continued. They were brothers, but they hated each other. The villagers gathered around quietly. They fought over land. They fought over power. They fought over who should lead the village. One day, their fight became so terrible that they killed each other during a battle. Gasps spread through the crowd. The old woman pointed her shaking finger at the twins. And before they died, they both shouted the same thing.
If I ever return to this world, I will defeat you." Silence filled the air. The old woman looked at the twins again. "That same night," she said, "I went to the shrine and the spirit told me something." She paused. "They said those two stubborn warriors would one day return to the world, but this time as brothers again." The villagers slowly turned their eyes toward the twins. A cold feeling passed through the crowd. The old woman's voice became softer. They said the only way their ancient fight would end was if they were forced to live the same life, in the same house, in the same family. Suddenly, Obinna and Somto felt something strange. Memories they could not explain flashed in their minds. Two warriors, a battlefield, a final fight. They both looked at each other with wide eyes. For the first time in their lives, they understood something. The reason they had fought inside the womb, the reason they slapped each other at birth, the reason they could never stop competing. Their rivalry had started long before they were born. The crowd waited silently. Then, something unexpected happened. Obinna slowly stretched out his hand. Somto looked at it for a moment. For years, they had only pushed each other away. But this time, Somto grabbed his brother's hand. The crowd released the breath they had been holding. Then the old woman smiled. "Good," she said. "Perhaps this time the story will end differently." The twins looked at each other. Then they both laughed. But the people of Umudara would never forget the strange truth. Two brothers who fought before they were born. Two rivals who once killed each other in another life. And two stubborn twins who returned to the world just to finally decide who would win. And that is the unbelievable story of the twins who started fighting before they were even born. From the womb to the delivery room, their rivalry shocked everyone. But now, I want to ask you something. Do you think these twins were just stubborn, or were they truly warriors continuing an old battle? If you enjoyed this story, type warrior in the comments. Let's see how many warriors are watching this story today. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more shocking African stories. Because the next story might be even crazier than this one.